Boys Town, the musical. It's Boys Town, the musical. It's a Boys Town musical. You're gonna start a death cult, Charles Manson. No?
I forgot about Boys Town.
How can you forget about Boys Town?
Because I'm sleepy.
It's insane. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I got up super early today.
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I know, but I got up early, so I don't want to hear it.
3 o'clock in the afternoon. Welcome to Haunts, Graves, and Omens. My name is Fred Stewart. With me, as always, my lovely co-host.
It's me. It's Taylor.
Hi, Taylor. And with us, finally joining us for cameras and sound, is Mr. Marty Cowick.
It is I,
It's
Mr. I'm
Marty.
here. I'm Mr. Marty Cowick. I'm here, and I'm ready for the boys to men. I mean, boys to murderers.
Yeah, that's surprisingly accurate. Yeah, man. Just want to hit some fun little. Taylor's got a couple news true crime stories to talk about real quick that are kind of fun.
I just got, well, man, I just got the.
She's got the one.
I got two.
You got two.
We'll
All
do
right.
two.
All
You guys ready?
Yes.
So the first one is pigeon suspected of being Chinese cleared by Indian police.
Did he have COVID?
No.
That's quick. That's crazy.
So apparently, Indian police cleared a suspected Chinese spy pigeon after 8 months of detention and released it back into the wild on Tuesday.
What are you in for? And there's
So apparently, this started last year in May when it was captured in Mumbai, wearing 2 rings tied to its legs, carrying words that looked like they were Chinese. Police suspected it was involved in espionage and took it in.
But of course,
That's what I think when I see a pigeon.
Agent Pigeon.
That's
what
part
did
of
you?
fucking espionage.
Agent Pigeon, what did you see over there in India? I fucking knew it all along. I knew it.
Apparently, it's not the first time a bird has been under police suspicion in India, I guess.
What's going on out there?
In 2020, they had a pigeon that had flown across the heavily militarized border. So they grabbed it because it belonged to a Pakistani fisherman.
Yeah.
So then they just grabbed the bird because he flew away.
That's awesome. And they're like, he must be a spy. And so they just grab a bird because they think it's a spy, even though it's just a bird. What you saw was birds.
Fun fact. India has not taken only 2 birds into custody. They've taken 3.
Nice.
In 2016, there was another pigeon taken into custody after it was found with a note that threatened the Indian prime minister.
Dude.
Just one guy who lives right next to the government building that's just like, all right, these fucking pigeons. I'm gonna fuck with these guys.
I want to see if India is going to execute these pigeons for their crimes.
The headline fucking sent me.
Can't hang a pigeon. Bring in the cat. You've been sentenced to death.
Did you ever hear about the elephant who was sentenced to death for killing its trainer?
No, but that's awesome.
They hung an elephant.
That's awesome.
It was in like Pennsylvania or some shit.
Pennsylvania?
Something like that. It was a circus.
You know.
Mary the elephant, I want to say.
And they did what to it?
They hung an elephant because it killed its trainer.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Mary, also known as Murderous Mary, was a 5-ton Asian elephant who performed in Sparks' world-famous circus after killing a circus employee, Walter Red Eldridge, on the second day as her handler in September 1916 in Kingsport, Tennessee. She was hanged nearby Eldridge. There's a photo of a fucking elephant being hanged by a crane.
That's crazy.
What?
I don't know, man.
On September 11th, 1916, a homeless man named Red Eldridge, who had landed a job as a transient hotel clerk, was hired as an elephant keeper by the Sparks World famous circus. He was killed by Mary in Sullivan County, Tennessee. And the following evening, although unqualified, Eldridge led the elephant parade, riding atop of Mary's back. Mary was the star of the show, walking in the front. There have been several accounts under his death. Basically witnessed he prodded behind her ear with a hook, and after she reached down to nibble on a watermelon rind, she went into a rage and then snatched Eldridge with her trunk and threw him against a drink stand and stepped on his head, crushing it. Basically, Anglo started chanting, "Kill the elephant, let's kill it," within minutes. Local blacksmith Hench Cox, nice, tried to kill Mary, firing 5 rounds, little effect. Meanwhile, the leaders of several nearby towns threatened to not allow the circus to revisit, and Mary was included. The circus owner, Charlie Sparks, luckily decided the only way was to quickly resolve the potentially ruinous situation was to kill the wounded elephant in public. On the following day, a Monday, rainy September 13th, 1916, Mary was transported by rail to Unicoi County, Tennessee, where a crowd of over 2,500 people, including most of the town's children, assembled in the railroad yard.
Probably the first time they've ever seen an elephant in their life.
Fucking hanged an elephant. How do you know that?
How do I know it?
Yeah.
I saw something on TikTok about it.
That's
I was like, they hung an elephant?
that's
crazy.
Yeah, no. Wildest shit I've ever heard of.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
The first attack resulted in a snap chain, causing Mary to fall and break her hip as dozens of children fled in terror. Then
maybe don't bring your children to the public elephant execution.
I feel like giving the pigeons the death penalty, though. They could hang it with like a weather balloon filled with helium.
Oh, instead of like hanging it, you'd like
you would like
you just take it up.
It's the opposite of hanging. It's like go up.
That's awesome.
God.
Some aliens up there be like, wonder if these creatures are smart, and then like a bird that was being hanged by
they get fucking detained by aliens for Earth espionage.
Yeah. What are you hiding? That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was the other story you had? Because that's the fucking. I never saw that I would see an elephant get hung with a crane. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was pretty wild. This one's pretty fucked up, honestly.
Yeah.
7 king cakes were stolen from a New Orleans bakery.
Oh. Very specific.
Yeah. If you don't know, king cakes are like a staple of Mardi Gras celebration. They're like a round cake. They've got colors in them, and they usually have a little plastic baby in them. And
excuse me?
The whole thing is to not get the baby in your slice of cake. It's kind of like a game of sorts. It's a tradition. So this man broke in to a bakery.
Yeah.
Are you looking at king cake babies?
Yeah. What the fuck? All right, you continue.
So, this man broke in, stole 7 whole king cakes.
Nice.
As well as a case of vodka and some cash.
Very okay. Yeah, I mean that's
he just
the cash and the vodka makes sense. 7 king cakes does not make sense. Do you think he plays that game by himself? He's like cutting in the 7. He's like, number 2, I still got it.
Guess who didn't get the baby in their cake this time?
he says to the mummified corpses of the 5 homeless people he has in his house. You know? Like, oh, Sir Rotsalot, would you like a slice of your cake? Well, it's from Louisiana, so but I don't want to slice your cake now. He's just Cajun. Just like him and his alligators with like lipstick on and shit. The alligators like sitting, because, you know, when you, like some people pick up alligators and they do the whole like awkward crouch thing, you know, just like them sitting in chairs, just hissing.
Yeah.
So what? They have no idea who did it?
No.
Man.
He just stole the cakes.
That's horrible.
It's pretty weird.
You know, crime, dude. What the fuck, dude? I know we're decorating the HGO set with, dude. Look at that.
Just a bunch of babies.
Yeah, a bunch of king cake baby Jesus bulk figurine babies in New Orleans Mardi Gras themed souvenir bag, pack of 25.
Oh, look at that.
It's cheap.
What is the fuck?
That's awesome. So Yeah, dude. I don't know. So fun thing for you guys, because I got an email this morning.
You got an email this
I
morning.
got an email this morning. We've been doing this show for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've definitely gone through the trials of like, man, we've never once faltered. You know, we've always been consistent. I mean, we've had the times where we're like technical difficulties or whatever.
Yeah.
But happy 5,000 downloads, everybody.
Holy
we did
shit.
it. 5K. I think we're over now, but 5K. We did it.
Holy shit.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Wild.
That's really
5,000 downloads of HGOs. That means 5,000 times people have tuned in to Hans Graves and Omens, and they're doing it right now. And let me tell you, you guys are a bunch of nerds. Now, not as much of a nerd as me. Just another thing of housekeeping real quick, because we're going to be down for a little bit because we're getting our new area set up. So we'll probably be down for like a week or so, but we'll see. Either that or we'll just record it audio-wise and then just have to do like some cartoon like animation with our faces or something.
Like
South Park style.
Yeah, I was gonna say South Park Canadian style. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, man. Now, Marty, you weren't here last week.
I was not.
As well. Allow me to give you a little, a little heads up about kind of what we talked about last week. All right. So last week we dived into the tale of Charles Manson, the Manson family. And we talked about Charles Manson's early life of him growing up throughout the system, how he spent most of his life in jail. Once he eventually got out of jail, he went back to jail, back forth. Eventually he was released, and he started getting LSD from this company, or this organization that was studying the effects of LSD on the human brain, which is also in partnership with the CIA, which is part of MK Ultra. And I'm about to start to get the Manicam getting rolling because I'm starting to yell again. Mm-hmm. But we talked about his use of using LSD on his followers and basically brainwashing them in order to do his bidding, his following, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And we have talked about all the known murders that Charles Manson and the Manson family has done. Yeah. Now, for this week, we're going to wrap up that fucking tale. Now, Marty, hit that fucking beat. Ooh. There it is. So
I like the sound effect in the beginning.
So in total, Manson and his followers were convicted of 9 counts of first-degree murder. However, the LAPD believes that the family could have claimed up to at least 12 more victims. Cliff Shepard, former LAPD robbery homicide division detective, said that Manson repeatedly claimed to have killed many others. And we talked about kind of briefly, last week, about how, they kind of were just bringing people out into that back lot back there, and then he was trying to get him to behead that guy. So who knows how many other people were buried out there. But prosecutor Stephen Kay supported this assertion by saying, I know that Manson one time told one of his cellmates that he was responsible for 35 murders. Oh. Tate's younger sister, Deborah Tate, has also claimed that investigators are just scraping the surface when it comes to the number of Manson's victims, and has further elaborated on how Manson has sent her a taunting map of the Panamint Range, which is like a mountain range kind of near the area, with a cross on it that she believed were meant to represent buried bodies. This has resulted in several excavations that have been undertaken at Manson's Barker Ranch that have not, but they have not resulted in finding any bodies found. Now, we're gonna talk about some people that they kind of did find that might be related. So Nancy Warren, 64, and Sylvia Delaney, 24, both found near Ukiah, California, at the antique store owned by Warren on October 13, 1968. They had been found beaten and strangled to death with a 36 leather thongs. After the Manson family members were arrested, they became suspects when it was discovered that the members of the family had been in the area at the same time of the murders. However, no one in the family has ever been charged with the murders, and no one's been arrested in that case. Same thing goes with Maria Elizabeth Habe, 17, was murdered on December 30th, 1968. She was a student at the University of Hawaii, home on vacation, when she was murdered in Los Angeles. According to the autopsy report, her throat had been slashed, and she had received numerous knife wounds to the chest. She suffered multiple contusions to her face, throat, and had been garroted. There's no evidence of sexual assault. Habe was abducted outside her home of her mother in West Hollywood. A former Manson family associate claimed that members of the family had known Habe or Hobb and was conjectured that she had been one of their victims. Darwin Morrell Scott, 64, was the uncle of Manson and the brother of Manson's father, obviously Colonel Scott, Jesus, who is not a colonel at all, which is very funny. On May 27, 1969, Scott was found brutally stabbed to death at his Ashland, Kentucky apartment. His body was pinned to the kitchen floor with a butcher knife and had been stabbed 19 times. After Manson's arrest, it was reported that local residents claimed to have seen a man resembling Manson using an alias Preacher in the area at the time Darwin was murdered. Manson was on parole in California at the time of the murder, but the murder occurred when Manson was out of touch with his parole officers. So it's not that far of a stretch for him to go out to Kentucky, kill a guy, and come back.
Also, I feel like it's pretty sus that it's his uncle. You know?
Yeah. Little too, and the guys call himself Preacher. He believes that he is, he is a fucking messiah in a way.
Yeah.
You guys talked about his music last week, right? Does somebody own the rights to his music?
I don't know.
That's strange.
It's a very good question. Mark Walt, 16, was an acquaintance of the family members and was even known to associate with them on Spawn Ranch. On July 17, 1969, Walt hitchhiked to the Santa Monica Pier so he can go fishing. His fishing pole was found abandoned at the pier, and his body was found the next day near Mulholland Drive. He had been shot 3 times in the chest. Though the family was reportedly shocked by Walt's murder, his brother was convinced that Manson was responsible for his death and even called him in to directly accuse him of the murder. The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department investigated Spawn Ranch in regards to Walt's murder, but found no links, and the murder was never solved.
I don't know. It's a little sus.
It is a little sus, and we're not done yet. So, John Philip Hout, how do you say the last name?
It's hot.
I think it's Hot. Yeah, I think so. H-A-U-G-H-T. Yeah, that Hout, maybe? I don't know. So he's 22. He was an Ohio native who had moved to California, met Manson in the summer of 1969. He joined the Manson family and was amongst the group who was arrested in October raid for the of the Klan for the Tate LaBianca murders. Manson suspected him of being an informant. On November 5th, 1969, John was associating with some of the members of the family. According to All President, John suddenly found a gun in the room, picked it up, and promptly shot himself while attempting a game of Russian roulette. However, when police investigated the death, they found that the gun, rather than have 0 bullets and 1 spent shell casing, instead contained 7 bullets and 1 spent shell case. So,
I mean, that seems. Maybe he didn't understand that.
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like if it was Russian roulette, he would have checked the.
Yeah, and also, moreover, to make it more suspicious, when police investigated the crime scene a little bit more, they grabbed the gun, they fingerprint it, and there's no fingerprints.
Oh.
Additionally, a male witness who had held John's head after the shooting told Cohen that he had entered the room to find a female. Manson followed with the gun in her hand. Despite this, they believe that John had actually shot himself. It was suspicious.
A little bit.
Yeah. So James Sharp and 15 and Doreen Gall, 19, were both found stabbed to death in an alley in Los Angeles on November 7th, 1969. The murder of the 2 young Scientologists involved both being stabbed between 50 and 60 times. Police immediately noted the similarities of the murders to those of the Tate LaBianca murders. The killings of Sharp and Gall happened close to where LaBianca lived. And Helter Skelter, author Vincent Bellozzi wrote that Gall was rumored to be the former girlfriend of the Manson family member Bruce Davis. Davis had lived in the same house complex as Gall, but in a police interview, he denied even knowing her. Suspicious?
Yeah.
Yes. So, we're still going here. So, Reet Jurvetson. Yeah, I'm going to say that's probably a Swedish name, at least in that area. Was 19, was a young woman found stabbed to death on November 16, 1969. Her body was found with over 150 stab wounds from a penknife to her neck, upper body, along with defensive wounds on her hands and arms. She had been disposed along Mulholland Drive in Los Angeles, California. Yes, some witnesses claimed to have seen the woman named Sherry, who matched Jurvetson's description among members of the Manson family, but it turned out this individual was alive. Manson himself denied any involvement in the killing of Jurvetson. Detectives within Los Angeles Police Department have noted striking similarities between this method of murder, both Jurvetson and Hobb, but no firm connection between both murderers has ever been established. Now, This one's a little out there for me. All the other ones seem feasible, right? But Joel Puig.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. Joe Pugh. Thank you.
Like
Taylor can
Florence
read. I can't.
Pugh.
Huh?
It's like Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. I'm not sure if I know. My brain's a little fuzzy. Who's Florence Pugh?
Let's just keep going. We'll talk about it later.
Who's Florence Pugh? You stopped the whole fucking show to say that. Obviously.
Well, no, that's because that's how I. She was in.
Oh, did you say she's an
Midsommar.
actress?
Oh, okay. Cool. Back to you, Fred.
Thanks, man. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later.
Just say she. I was like, why is it? You're derailing the whole podcast. Just be like, yeah, it's like Florence Pugh. And I'm like, who? And you're like, we'll talk about it later. It's like, just she's an actress. Just to say she was in fucking Dune. You can just say that. That's cool.
I've never seen her in Dune.
All
So.
right. So Joel Pugh, 29, Jesus, man, was found dead at the Talgarth Hotel in London, England on December 1st, 1969. His wrist had been cut and his throat was slashed twice. British authorities listed the death a drug-induced suicide, saying Pugh had been depressed. Pugh was a family member who was married to another member of the family, Sandra Good. Stephen Kay and others claim Manson hated Pugh. Quote, he had no reason to commit suicide, and Manson was very unhappy that Sandy was with Pugh. Kay said Pugh's death occurred when a number of... Jesus Christ. Excuse me. My voice is all fucked up. Oh, man. Am I about to lose my voice? I think I'm about to lose my voice. When a number of Manson family members were arrested for the Tate LaBianca murders, Manson follower Bruce Davis was in London at the time Pugh died. Ronald Hughes, 35, was an American attorney who was representative of Leslie Van Houten, a member of the Manson family. Hughes disappeared while on a camping trip during a 10-day recess in the Tate LaBianca murder trial in November of 1970. The badly decomposed body of Hugh was found in March 1971, wedged between two boulders in Ventura County. It was rumored, although never proven, that Hughes was murdered by the family, possibly because he had stood up to Manson and refused to allow Van Houten to take the stand and absolve Manson of the crimes. Though he might have perished in flooding. Excuse me. Attorney Stephen Kay stated that while he is on the fence about the family's involvement in Hughes' death, Manson had an open contempt for Hughes during the trial. Kay added the last thing that Manson said to Hughes was, "I don't want to see you in the courtroom again." And he was never seen again
in
alive. Yeah, it's true. He was never seen in the courtroom.
Seen in the courtroom again.
That's true. Family member Jesus Christ. Family member Sandra Good stated that Hugh was, quote, the first of the retaliation murders. So there you have it. We're still going. There's still
quite a few.
Still quite a few here. So, on November 8th, 1972, the body of 26-year-old Vietnam Marine combat veteran James Lambert Willett was found by a hiker in the near Guerneville, California. I think I said that right. Months earlier, he had been forced to dig his own grave, and then was shot and poorly buried. His station wagon was found outside a house in Stockton, California, where several Manson followers were living, including Priscilla Cooper, Lynette Fromm, and Nancy Pittman. Police forced a way into the house and arrested several members of the people there. Excuse me. About to totally sneeze.
Oh, be like that.
You totally sneezed just now.
I did. The body of Willett's 19-year-old wife, Lauren Willett, was found buried in the basement of the home. She had been killed very recently by gunshot wound to the head. What the family members initially claimed was an accident. It was later suggested that she was killed out of fear that she would reveal who killed her husband. Michael Monfort pleaded guilty to murdering Lauren and Priscilla Cooper. James Craig and Nancy Pittman pleaded guilty as accessories after the fact. Monfort and William Goucher later pleaded guilty to the murder of James, and James Craig pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact. The group had been living in the house with the Willets while committing various robberies. Shortly after killing Willett, Monfort used Willett's identification papers to pose as Willett after being arrested for an armed robbery of a liquor store. Willett was not involved in these robberies and wanted to move away, was presumably killed out of fear that he would talk to the police. Yeah.
I mean, anyone who's like even somewhat involved with the family seems to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Lawrence Merrick, 50, was an American film director and author. He was best known for co-directing the Oscar-nominated documentary Manson in 1973. Sharon Tate was a former student of Merrick's Academy of Dramatic Arts. Merrick was killed by a gunman on January 26, 1977. He was shot in the back in a car park of his acting school. Merrick's murder went unsolved until October 1981, when 35-year-old Dennis Mignano confessed to police. At his subsequent trial, Mignano was found not guilty by reason of insanity and committed to a mental hospital. Mignano was unemployed, would-be actor and singer with a long history of psychiatric problems and possible prior relationship with the Manson crew. So, yeah, you kind of see how everyone, if you're disassociate with the Manson family and you do wrong in Charles Manson's eyes in whatever way that could possibly be, you're dead.
Yeah.
So, 6 months after the murder of Merrick, Mignano's sister Michelle Mignano, 21. She was a stripper, was also murdered. A body was found on June 13, 1977, 350 feet into a Western Pacific Railroad tunnel in Niles Canyon. Authorities referred to her death as a, quote, execution-style slaying, with her dying from
exsanguination.
Yeah, sure. That
blood loss.
Yeah, lots of blood loss due to multiple gunshot wounds. A number of bullet cartridges were found near the body. She was shoeless yet fully clothed with jewelry, so no sexual assault or robbery was ruled out as motives. Her murder has also never been solved, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just the Manson family just being a Manson family.
Probably.
So, talk about all the murders. Now, how are police going to help solve this case, right? So, the Tate murders have become national news on August 9th, 1969, after the Polanski's housekeeper, Winfred Chapman, arrived to work that morning. On August 10th, detectives in Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, which had jurisdiction in the Hinman case, informed the LAPD detectives assigned to the Tate case of the bloody writing at the Hinman house. According to Vincent Belosi, because detectives believe the Tate murders were a consequence of drug transaction, the Tate team initially ignored this and the other evidence of the similarities between the crimes. It's LAPD just being like, fucking, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't fucking get it.
How's it going? Frank Chapman, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. You with LAPD?
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, we have this homicide over here. Striking resemblance to your homicide here.
Where?
Same blood writing, same execution styles, the brutality of the murders. I think it's related.
I think it was related to drugs.
Okay.
We're going to go with that.
That's basically how that worked. It's just LAPD being like, no.
Thanks.
Yeah. During the Tate autopsies, detectives working the Hinman case noticed similarities in the weapons used, the stab wounds, and the writing on the walls. They brought out the information to detectives working the Tate murders. According to Detective Charlie Gunther, Vince Pelosi didn't want anything to do with the Hinman case. Hinman was a nothing case. Vince didn't want to prosecute it. Held briefly as a suspect, Gerritsen told police that he had neither seen nor heard anything on the murder night. He was released on August 11, 1969, after undergoing a polygraph examination that indicated that he had not been involved in the crimes. The La Bianca crime scene was discovered at 10:30 p.m. on August 10th, approximately 19 hours after the murders were committed, when 15-year-old Frank Struthers, Rosemary's son from a prior marriage, and Leno's stepson returned from a camping trip, which is fucking horrific.
That's awful.
On August 12th, 1969, LAPD told press that they ruled out any connection between Tate and La Bianca homicides. Ruled out any connection. They're not connected. Yeah. So on August 16th, the sheriff's office raided Spawn Ranch and arrested Manson and 25 others as suspected in a major auto theft ring that had been stealing Volkswagen Beetles, converting them into dune buggies.
I mean, of all things to be arrested for that they did is, that's not...
Auto theft ring.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the auto theft is...
I'm sure they
While it is a felony, it's not nearly as bad as multiple homicides.
Yeah.
I think that they probably... What they did was they needed something that they could hold them on.
just to indict them.
Have them in custody before, while they got their ducks in a row.
Yeah.
For the murders.
Yeah.
This is my guess.
Have their murder ducks in a row. Now, in a report at the end of August, La Bianca detectives noted the possible connection between the bloody writings at La Bianca house and the singing group The Beatles' the singing group The Beatles' most recent album, Helter Skelter, and all that stuff. So, still working separately from the Tate team, the La Bianca team checked on the sheriff's office in mid-October about possible similar crimes. They learned about the Hinman case, and also learned about Hinman's detectives had spoke with Jesus Christ, Pelosi's Beausoleil's girlfriend, Kitty Lutzinger. Man, I can't fucking read today, dude. My brain is mush.
Feel that.
She had been arrested a few days earlier with a member of the Manson family. The arrests for the car thefts had taken place at a desert ranch with the few members of the family which they moved in there. The joint force of the National Park Service Rangers and officials from the California Highway Patrol, the CHP, and the Inyo County Sheriff's Office, federal, state, and county personnel had raided both of the Myers and Baker ranches. The following evidence left when family members had burned an earth mover owned by Death Valley National Monument. Jeez.
God.
Or in case you want to know what an earth mover is, I'm pretty sure it's a big ass truck. Yeah. It's like a
heavy equipment.
It's heavy equipment. Yeah, big old heavy equipment. So a highway patrol officer found Manson hiding in a cabinet beneath the baker's bathroom sink.
Oh my God.
So
he shoved himself in a cabinet?
He's a little guy.
Jeez.
He's like 5.
I know.
5'3"?
He's like 5'2".
Hey, he's tiny. He's a little
something
guy.
like that. He's shorter than I am, which is saying
He's a little guy.
Yeah, little guy.
Yeah, I didn't realize how short he was. You told me last time how short he was, and I was like, what? But also, he shoved himself in a fucking cabinet.
Yeah, he was trying to hide somewhere. Didn't hide very well, did he?
No. Not really.
Not very well.
Cop's got his 38, and he's looking in there. He's like, Manson, is that you? And he goes like, nah, I'm part of the cover. She can't see me. And they're like, Pretty sure that's Charles Manson.
He's like, no, this is just a cupboard.
Yeah. I'm just a cupboard. Leave me alone. If you cover your face, you're not hiding. You can't. If I can't see you, can't see me. And they're like, just pull their big ass batons and they start hitting them.
Like, it just makes me think of like Prop Hunt, where you choose like the worst thing and you're just hiding, like, in plain fucking sight. You're like, no.
Him holding a light bulb in his mouth, and he's like, I'm a lamp.
Like, it's not how that works.
You're not a lamp. I can see that you're not a lamp. Yeah. So following leads, a month after they had spoken with Lute singer, LaBianca detectives contacted members of a motorcycle gang Manson tried to recruit as bodyguards while the family was at Spawn Ranch. Meanwhile, a dormitory mate of Susan Atkins informed LAPD of the family's involvement in the crimes. Atkins was booked for the hidden murder after she told the sheriff's detectives that she had been involved in it. Transferred to the Sybil Brand Institute Detention Center in Monterey Park, California. She had begun talking to bunkmates Ronnie Howard and Virginia Graham, to whom she gave accounts of the events in which she had been involved, all of the murders. So, on December 1st, 1969, the LAPD announced warrants for the arrest of Watson, Krenwinkel, Kabassian in the Tate case. The suspects involved in the LaBianca murders was noted. Manson and Atkins, were already in custody, were not mentioned. The connection between LaBianca case and Van Houten, who had been among those arrested near Death Valley, had not yet been recognized. Watson and Krenwinkel were already under arrest with authorities in McKinney, Texas, and Mobile, Alabama, having picked them up on the notice from the LAPD. They got pretty far.
They did.
Informed that a warrant was out for their arrest, Kabassian voluntarily surrendered to authorities in Concord, New Hampshire on December 2nd. Which...
I'm surprised she didn't, like...
just disappear?
Try and disappear.
I mean...
She's like, one day later, she's like, I just...
This is around that time, too, where, like, this is around the last bit of time where you could just do that. You could just disappear.
Yeah.
You know? So physical evidence such as Krenwinkel's and Watson's fingerprints, which had been collected by LAPD at CeeLo Drive, was augmented by evidence recovered by the public. On September 1st, 1969, a distinctive .22 caliber high standard bunt-line special revolver Watson had used on parent Sebring and Fryoski had been found and given to the police by Stephen Weiss, a 10-year-old who had lived near the Tate residence. 10-year-old found the murder weapon.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Of one of the most horrific murders of all time. Just happened to find it nearby.
Wild.
Probably playing out there, you know. That would just like looked in a bush and was just like.
I think I should probably give that to someone.
Yeah, just like,
Huh.
I'm not gonna keep this.
Yeah.
My dad said, no, don't keep no firearms you find in bushes. They only come off of trees. That's where you want to get them, right? You never want the guns that fall off the trees, all right? Those are bad ones. You want to pick up, you want to get up, you want to pick a gun off the tree.
You want to make sure there's no worms in it.
Yeah, make sure there's no worms in your gun. Because then that's just a shitty gun at the end of the day, you know?
You're just like how you check apples.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're apple picking.
Yeah.
Same concept. That's.
Now, if your gun has worms in it, don't use that gun.
Or do it, see what happens.
Definitely don't eat it.
Yeah, definitely don't eat your gun if it's got worms in it. It's bad for you. Now, in mid-December, when the Los Angeles Times published a crime account based on the information Susan Atkins had given to her attorney, Weiss's father made several phone calls, which finally prompted LAPD to locate the gun and its evidence file and connect it with the murders via ballistic tests.
Several phone calls.
Yeah. They're like, we'll get around to it, man. Stop bugging. All right?
Like, hey, fuckers.
We gotta get the worms out of this gun.
Oh, shoot. We got the worms out, and then Dave ate it, so.
Yeah. He ate the worms?
No, the gun.
Oh. Like, ah.
He actually ate it from the handle first, yeah.
Well, that's
he ate the clip.
It's actually a magazine.
Yeah, the magazine.
Clips go in your fucking hair. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, technically eating it from the hand grip forward is the safest way to eat a gun.
Yeah.
If you want to be technical.
I mean, he could have ate it from the trigger mechanism.
Well, then it might go off, you know.
Yeah, it's fair. You want to go from the handle first, so that way, in case it does go off, nothing happens.
If you're doing it, you're going, it might just go off and put it around. Happened to Steve down at 82nd Precinct.
I mean, like if you were like, here, let me. So this is a gun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the handle. If you're eating it from this end, right?
Yeah.
Then it would go off that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it would still be safe.
Yeah, exactly. You're saying that's why you can't eat it from the trigger mechanism, dude. Because if you're doing like that, you're eating it upside down, dude. Just like
it's not practical.
It's like, would you eat a sub sideways? No, dude. You're gonna eat it. You're gonna eat a fucking sub properly, dude.
I mean, depending on the race.
I'm gonna eat the sub inside out. Everything first, and then the dough and the shell.
Sound like those orcas that got those millionaires. So. It's crazy.
That was billionaire.
Whatever. Who cares? Just instant. Just done, dude. Anyway, acting on the super graphic. Acting on the same newspaper account, a local ABC television crew quickly located and recovered the body. The bloody clothing discarded by the Tate killers. The knives had been discarded en route from the Tate residence were never recovered, despite a search by the same crewmen and by LAPD. A knife found behind the cushion of a chair in the Tate living room was apparently that of Susan Atkins, who had lost her knife in the course of the attack. So, the trial began on June 15, 1970. The prosecution maintains main witnesses were Kabassian, who, along with Manson and Atkins and Krenwinkel, have been charged with 7 counts of murder and 1 count of conspiracy.
I bet Kabassian took a deal. That's what she's...
Wow. I would say, are you reading the notes? Because
no.
That's really funny. But I know you can't see that far. So that's even funnier.
No, because I know that, if someone's being charged and they are on the prosecution's list.
Yes.
Usually they took a deal.
Yes.
It's usually how that works.
Yes.
I watch a lot of SVU.
So, since Kabassian, by all accounts, had not participated in the killing, she was granted immunity in exchange for the testimony that detailed the nights of the crimes. Originally, a deal had been made with Atkins in which the prosecution agreed not to seek the death penalty against her in exchange for a grand jury testimony on which the indictments were secured. Once Atkins, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Basically, once Atkins pulled out of that deal, the deal was then withdrawn.
Oh.
So, because Van Houten had participated only in the LaBianca killings, she was charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of conspiracy. Originally.
Can we
Get an originally on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Originally.
Judge William Keene had been granted Manson permission to act as his own attorney.
Because that always goes really well.
It's a fucking shoe-in case for your prosecution.
I mean, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Because of Manson's conduct, including violations of a gag order and submission of outlandish and nonsensical pre-trial motions, the permission was withdrawn before the trial starts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Manson filed an affidavit of prejudice against Keene, who was replaced by Judge Charles Older. He was actually younger than him. No.
Got him.
He was 500 years old. On just they just bring him in and he's just on one of those fucking those machines move your
the
chest.
iron lung?
Yeah, dude, just just please rise for the Honorable Charles Older. Foolish you have been. I sentence you to death. It's oh shit, he's Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
That'd be awesome, dude. When I get sentenced to death, I want to be sentenced by Darth Vader.
When?
Whenever. On Friday, July 24th, the final day of testimony, the final day of testimony, Manson appeared in court with an X carved in his forehead. He issued a statement that he was considered inadequate and in contempt to speak or defend himself, and that he had X'd himself from the establishment's world.
Okay.
So, yeah. World. Over the following weekend, the female defendants duplicated the mark on their own foreheads, as did most of the family members within another day or so. The prosecution argued that the triggering of Helter Skelter was Manson's main motive. The crime scene's bloody White Album reference, Helter Skelter, written by Susan Atkins, and the writing of pigs was correlated with testimony about Manson's predictions about the murders that he said that black people would commit on the outset of Helter Skelter would involve the writing of pigs on walls and victims' blood. No. It's just him being crazy and trying to start a race war that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
The defendants testified that the writing in blood on the walls was to copy that of the Hinman murder scene, not an apocalyptic race war. According to Buglosi, Manson directed Kabassian to hide a wallet taken from the crime scene in the women's restroom of a service station near a black neighborhood. However, as a co-prosecutor, Stephen Kay, later pointed out that the wallet was actually left about 20 miles away, predominantly in a white neighborhood. So we had to cut a joke, and it's Marty's fault. But that's awesome. So during the trial, family members loitered near the entrances and corridors of the courthouse to keep them out of the courtroom proper. The prosecution subpoenaed them as prospective witnesses who would not be able to enter while others were testifying. When the group established itself in vigil on the sidewalk, some members wore sheathed hunting knives that, although in plain view, were carried legally. Each of them was also identifiable by the X on their foreheads. Some family members attempted to dissuade witnesses from testifying. Prosecution witness Paul Watkins and Juan Flynn were both threatened. Watkins was badly burned in a suspicious fire in his van. Former family member Barbara Hoyt, who had overheard Susan Atkins describing the Tate murders to a family member, Ruth Ann Morehouse, better than Ruth Ann Let's House. I think I made that joke last week.
I don't remember.
Agreed to accompanying the latter to Hawaii. Therefore, Morehouse allegedly gave her a hamburger spiked with several doses of LSD.
Oh my God.
Found sprawled on a Honolulu curb in a drugged semi-stupor, Hoyt was taken to a hospital where she did her best to identify the witnesses in the Tate LaBianca murder trial. Before the incident, Hoyt had been a reluctant witness. After the attempt to silence her, she effectively disappeared. She was like, I'm fucking out of here. On August 4th, despite precautions taken by the court, Manson flashed the jury a Los Angeles Times front page, whose headline was "Manson Guilty, Nixon Declares." This was a reference to a statement made the previous day when U.S. President Richard Nixon had decried that what he saw as the media's glamorization of Manson. Wow. This is a lot of words. So basically, the jurors contended that the headline had not influenced them per the judge's orders. The next day, the female defendant stood up and said in unison that the light of Nixon's remark was that there was no point of going through the trial. Basically, they're like, the president says he's guilty. You guys are all going to think he's guilty. It's because he is super, 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 super guilty.
Oh, yeah.
On October 5th, words are hard. I don't know how to read. Manson was denied the court's permission to question a prosecution witness whom defense attorneys had declined to cross-examine. Leaping over the defense table, Manson attempted to attack the judge
That usually
with
goes
a fucking
really well.
pencil. Yeah, I tried to attack him with a pencil. Bailiffs, who are their whole job is to be there to literally to fight. That's their entire job. Quickly beat the fuck out of him, and he was moved in the courtroom with female defendants who had subsequently risen and began chanting in Latin. Therefore, Older allegedly began wearing a revolver under his robes. The judge.
You do what you
The
gotta
judge began
do.
carrying a fucking handgun under his robes, which is so gangster. I love that, dude.
I mean, to be fair, he got fucking jumped by Manson. So.
Yeah. Dude, he's tiny, too. And he's squirrely, you know? He's coming at you. He's like, I'm gonna get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one guard just like... just
like, a bailiff's whole job is fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh, yeah. So, on November 16th, the prosecution rests its case. Take a little break. Rest its case. 3 days later, after arguing the standard dismissal motions, the defense stunned the court by resting as well without calling a single witness.
Well.
Shouting their disapproval, Atkins, Krenwinkel, and Van Houten demanded their right to testify. So, pretty upsetty sketty. In chambers, the women's lawyer told judge their clients wanted to testify and that they had planned and committed the crimes and that Manson had not been involved. By resting their case, the defense lawyers had tried to stop this. Van Houten's attorney, Ronald Hughes, vehemently stated that he would not, quote, push a client out the window. In the prosecutor's view, it was Manson who was advised the women to testify in this way as a means of saving himself. Speaking about the trial in a 1987 documentary, Krenwinkel said the entire proceedings were scripted by Charlie.
Yeah, I feel like the defense was like, listen, we know he's fucking guilty.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it. We're having to defend him, but like, we know. So guess what? We fucking rest. We're done.
Listen, we know he's guilty, and we know that they're trying to conspire with each other to make it seem like he is not guilty. And let me tell you one thing: if we testify against him, he's gonna hide all of our nuts for the winter, because that's what he does, being a man of his stature. All right.
He's just
How tall was he?
He's like 5'2".
5'2".
5'2"? Holy
Yeah, no,
shit,
he's not
I
very
did
tall.
not know
Yeah,
that.
right. Like he seemed. Maybe it's because he's fucking crazy.
I mean, I've
5'2".
only ever seen his face. I've never seen his whole
know.
body.
He-
You
he's
know,
But like he looks
5'2".
He looks intimidating. Like
Yeah.
he'd be tall.
yeah, like I've seen that, and I've seen like interviews with him, you know, but I've never seen like him standing up.
But he's
That's
always
crazy.
sitting down.
Yeah.
He is always sitting down.
He's on booster seats.
Yeah.
So the next day, Manson joins the stand.
Oh.
So the jury was removed from the courtroom during this part of the testimony. According to Vincent Pelosi, it was to make sure that Manson's address did not violate the California Supreme Court's decision, People versus Aranda, by making statements implicating his co-defendants. However, Pelosi argued Manson would use his hypnotic powers to unfairly influence the jury. Speaking for more than an hour, Manson said, among other things, that, quote, the music is telling the youth to rise up against the establishment. He said, quote, why blame it on me? I didn't write the music. Quote, to be honest with you, Manson also stated, I don't recall ever saying, get a knife and go get a change of clothes and go do what Tex says.
I'm surprised that they even let him testify.
Well,
Because, I mean,
you know,
I think they have to, technically, right?
yeah,
not always.
it depends.
I mean,
Yeah.
if they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they want to testify, I think they have to let them testify.
Yeah, they have the right, but most lawyers will tell you, don't fucking do it.
Yeah. But
Like,
if you're
don't-
smart, you know, and you like going to dig yourself deeper in a hole, but he doesn't give a fuck. He's crazy. He's fucked.
Yeah, he's probably like, you know what, let me do it. And defense is like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, fuck it.
So,
Get up there.
as the body of the trial concluded with the closing arguments pending, defense attorney Hughes disappeared during a weekend trip. That's when he ended up dying. When Maxwell Keith was appointed to represent Van Houten in Hughes' absence, a delay of more than 2 weeks was required to permit Keith to familiarize himself with the voluminous trial transcripts. It's a lot to cover. No sooner had the trial resumed just before Christmas than disruptions of the prosecution's closing argument by the defendants led Older to ban the 4 defendants from the courtroom for the remainder of the guilty phase. This may have occurred because the defendants were acting in collusion with each other and were simply putting on a performance, which Older said was becoming obvious. I know you all planning something, or you guys are up to something. we're planning something. Like, well, Charlie says that we got to plan something, so we're planning something. And they're like, is this on? Listen, if we just tell the judge that we didn't do it, he has to let us go. And meanwhile, the judge is like, I can fucking hear you. It's like, get out of my head, devil. On January 25th, 1971, the jury returned guilty verdicts against 4 of the defendants on each of their 27 separate counts against them. Not far into the trial's penalty phase, the jurors saw the defense that Manson, in the prosecution's view, had planned to present. Atkins, Krenwinkel, Van Houten testified that the murders had been conceived as a copycat versions of the Hinman murder, for which Atkins now took credit for. The killings, they said, were intended to draw suspicion away from Bobby Boselli by resembling the crime for which he had been put in jail for, which, the murder.
Yeah.
Where I just lost my place. We jail for this plan had been subsequently been the work of and carried out under the guidance of not Manson, but someone allegedly in love with Boselli, Linda Kabassian.
I was gonna say Manson.
Yeah. Not Manson. Charlie.
Yeah. Call me Charlie.
Charles, if you will.
Charles was my father.
But was Linda Kabassian? She's the one that was granted immunity, right?
She was, yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
I believe so.
She was the one.
That doesn't even fuck her up then?
Well,
she's already got immunity.
Yeah, she's got immunity.
She's got immunity for that charge, but she's getting charged with the other stuff.
Oh, yeah. So it's just the one charge.
She's still going to get less than everybody else.
Yeah, okay.
So among the narrative's weak points was the inability of Atkins to explain why, as she was maintaining, had written political piggy at the Hinman house in the first place. Midway through the penalty phase, Manson shaved his head and trimmed his beard to a fork, and he told the press, I am the devil, and the devil always has a bald head.
Excuse me?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure
I don't think the devil has male pattern baldness. I don't think that's how that works.
A lot of this trial was recorded, right?
Yeah.
Because I've heard him say that, and I'm pretty sure it was like some band uses it as a sample before.
So
an intro or something.
We talked about, I think it was Tex Watkins. We talked about his saying that's become infamous in horror and music and stuff like that because it's the most terrifying statement of all time. But it's most popularly seen in The Devil's Rejects, which is I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's business.
Yeah.
Do the devil's work. So it's just them. It's him doing fucking night stalker shit. That's later on around this. That's kind of around the same time, I think. Of just him being like, it's the devil. It's all satanic panic. He's trying to fucking freak people out.
I don't know, something about I'm the devil and the devil always has a bald head.
Yeah.
Just to me, I can't take that serious.
I'm the devil and the devil with a bald head.
I can't take that fucking serious at all.
Yeah, because I wanted to do my Manson voice, which is just Alex Brightman at the end of the day, but I was like, I don't know, it just doesn't fit. It's like I'm the devil, and I'm the devil who always has a bald head. Yeah, brother. In the prosecution's regard to as belated recognition of their part that, words are hard. In the prosecution. In what the prosecution regarded as belated recognition on their part that imitation of Manson only proved his domination, the female followers refrained from shaving their heads until jurors retired to weigh the state's request for the death penalty. The effort to exonerate Manson via the copycat scenario failed. On March 29th, 1971, the jury returned verdicts of death against all 4 defendants on all counts. On April 19th, 1971, Judge Older sent the four to death.
Wow.
Straight to death row for you. Yeah, dude. Pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
That's wild.
So Manson was admitted to a state prison from Los Angeles County on April 22nd, 1971 for 7 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder for the deaths of Abigail Ann Folger, Wojciech Frejowski, Stephen Earl Parent, Sharon Tate Polanski, Jay Sebring, and Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. As the death penalty was ruled unconstitutional in 1972, Manson was resentenced to life with the possibility, Manson was resentenced to life with the possibility of parole. With. His initial death sentence was modified to life on February 22nd, 1977. Yes, I know. Listen, it all comes around. So, on December 13th, 1971, Manson was convicted of first-degree murder in Los Angeles County Circuit Court for the July 25th, 1969 death of musician Gary Hinman. He was also convicted of first-degree murder for the August 1969 death of Donald Shea. Following the 1972 decision of California versus Anderson, California's death sentences were ruled unconstitutional that any prisoner now under the sentence of death may file a petition for writ of habeas corpus in a superior court, inviting that court to modify its judgment to provide for the appropriate alternative punishment of life imprisonment or life imprisonment without the possibility of parole specified by the statute of the crime for which he was sentenced to death. So basically, like, he could fucking just get life, essentially. Manson was thus eligible to apply for parole after 7 years incarceration. No.
What the fuck?
Yes. His first parole hearing took place November 16, 1978 at California Medical Facility in Vacaville, where it was obviously rejected. So, you know, it's just fucking insane.
Yeah.
Now, you would think that the Manson family would be all but done at this point, right?
No.
Well, you would think. Their leader's in jail. They don't got a lot going on. You know, no one's really stealing VW bugs anymore. Killing people. But on September 5th, 1975, the family returned to national attention when Squeaky Fromm attempted to assassinate U.S. President Gerald Ford.
Oh my God.
The attempt took place in Sacramento, to which she and fellow Manson follower Sandra Good had moved so they could be near Manson while he was incarcerated at Folsom State Prison. Yeah, dude. Good old Folsom State. Go, Cash. I don't know. I'm just trying to make a dumb joke about that, like being like a football team, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, where'd you go? I went to Folsom State. Like, huh? The prison?
No.
Yeah, it was a defensive line at Folsom State. It's like, oh, like, what was that? It's like, yeah, it was the defensive line during the prison riots. It's always trying to beat up cops. The subsequent search of the apartment shared by Fromm and Good, another family member recruited, turned up evidence that, coupled with the later actions on the part of Good, resulted in Good's conviction for conspiracy to send threatening communications through the United States Mail Service and transmitting death threats by the way of interstate commerce. The threats involved corporate executives and the U.S. government officials via a supposed environmental declaration. What the fuck? Yeah, sure. Fuck it. They're threatening people with the mail, dude. This shit's worded so weird sometimes. Fromm was sentenced to 15 years to life, becoming the first person sentenced under the United States Code, Title 18, Chapter 84, which made it a federal crime to attempt to assassinate the President of the United States.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They waited till 1965
to make it a crime to try to assassinate the president.
Yeah,
yes.
In a federal crime.
Yeah.
You could be charged with the state that it happened in, but federally. They didn't learn from fucking, like, Lincoln.
No.
They were like,
enjoying the blame, Mr. President.
They're like, it probably won't happen again.
Yeah. No one ever tries to kill the president.
Just the one.
On December 1987, from serving a life sentence for assassination attempt, escaped briefly from the federal prison camp Alderson in West Virginia. She was trying to reach Manson because she heard that he had testicular cancer. She was apprehended within days. She was released on parole from the Federal Medical Center in Carswell in August of 2009. In the 1980s, Manson gave 4 interviews to the mainstream media. The first recorded at the California Medical Facility and aired June 13th, 1981 by Tom Snyder for NBC's The Tomorrow Show. The second recorded at San Quentin State Prison and aired on March 7, 1986 by Charlie Ross's CBS News Night Watch. It won a National News Emmy Award for Best Interview in 1987, which is probably the most popular one people know.
Yeah.
The third was Geraldo Rivera in 1988 as part of the Journalist's primetime special on Satanism.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Good old satanic panic. At least as early as the Snyder interview, Manson's forehead bore a swastika on the spot where the X was carved during his trial.
Of course it did.
Nicholas Shrek. Mm-hmm.
Yep,
that's Shrek. Like we're both like, that's Shrek. Conducted an interview with Manson for his documentary Charles Manson Superstar. Shrek concluded that Manson was not insane, but merely acting out of frustration. On September 25th, 1984, Manson was imprisoned at the California Medical Facility at Vacaville when inmate John Holstrom poured paint thinner on him and set him on fire, causing 2nd and 3rd degree burns on over 20% of his fucking body. Holstrom explained that Manson had objected to his Hare Krishna chants and verbally threatened him. After 1989, Manson was housed in the protective housing unit at California State Prison. The unit housed inmates who safely would be endangered by general population housing. He had also been housed at San Quentin State Prison, California Medical Facility, Folsom State Prison, Pelican Bay State Prison. He had been fucking everywhere. And in other words of Johnny Cash, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. He'd been everywhere. In June 1997, a prison disciplinary committee found that Manson had been, quote, trafficking drugs. And that's when he got moved to Pelican Bay State Prison. So,
Honestly, you know what though? Sometimes I'm kind of in the boat of just like, don't put him in protective. Just see what happens and jump out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but I feel like
in certain cases.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why they're doing it, but it's also like what happened to Jeffrey Dahmer. You know, he was in Gym Pop, and then some dude crushed his head with a fucking weight.
Yeah.
Which, it's one of those things. It's like you just go, what are you gonna do now?
Crazy! I never expected that to happen.
Crazy?
Wild.
Those crazy ones. On September 5th, 2007, MSNBC aired The Mind of Manson, a complete version of the 1987 interview at California's San Quentin State Prison. The footage of the unshackled, unapologetic, and unruly Manson had been considered so unbelievable that only 7 minutes of it had originally aired on the broadcast on Today, for which it had been recorded. In 2009, Los Angeles disc jockey Matthew Roberts released a correspondence with other evidence indicating that he might be Manson's biological son.
Oh.
Robert's biological mother claims that she had been a member of the Manson family who left mid-1967 after being sexually assaulted by Manson. She returned to her parents' home to complete the pregnancy, gave birth on March 22nd, 1968, and put Roberts up for adoption. CNN conducted a DNA test between Matthew Roberts and Manson's known biological grandson, Jason Freeman, in 2012, showing that Roberts and Freeman did not share DNA. Roberts subsequently attempted to establish that Manson was his father through direct DNA tests, which proved definitively that Robert and Manson were indeed not related.
Oh.
Yeah. In 2010, the Los Angeles Times reported that Manson was caught with a cell phone in 2009 and had contacted people in California, New Jersey, Florida, and British Columbia. The spokesperson for the California DOC stated that it was not known if Manson had used the phone for criminal purposes, probably because he was trafficking drugs at the old place, so not a surprise he would be doing it there. Manson also recorded an album of acoustic pop songs, which additionally, sorry, just so funny he's recording a fucking pop album.
Yeah.
With additional production by Henry Rollins, titled Completion. Nice. Only 5 copies were ever pressed. 2 belonged to Rollins, while the other 3 were presumed to have been given with Manson. The album was never released, which is wild to me. In 2013, Manson stated that he was bisexual, saying, Sex to me is like going to the toilet. Whether it's a girl or not, it doesn't matter. I don't play that guy-girl shit. I'm not hung up on that game.
I feel like because he's now been in prison for such a long time, he's
just banging people, dude.
Yeah,
he's just banging people, just bang people.
Yeah.
He's also, I mean, like, I don't know. He's you know, obviously, I think it's another way of him trying to control people, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know. In 2014, the imprisonment Manson became enraged. Sorry, Jesus Christ. In 2014, the imprisoned Manson became engaged to 26-year-old Afton Elaine Burton and obtained a marriage license on November 7th. Manson gave Burton the nickname Star. She had been visiting him in prison for at least 9 years and maintained several websites that proclaimed his innocence. The wedding license expired on February 5th, 2015, without a marriage ceremony taking place. Journalist Daniel Simone reported that the wedding was canceled after Manson discovered that Burton wanted to marry him, not marry him only so that she and a friend, Craig Hammond, can you guys guess what happened?
No.
Can you guys guess why she was trying to marry him?
No.
'Cause I remember this happening.
Fame?
In a way.
I don't know.
So that her and a friend could use his corpse as a tourist attraction after his death. They were going to tow him around the fucking U.S. and be like, look at Manson's body.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, I'm surprised that Manson, called it off. Because that was the plan. You know, their plan, you know?
Yeah.
Because, I feel like that's something he would have been into.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's very surprising. According to Simone, Manson believed that he would never die and may simply have been used the possibility of marriage as a way to encourage Burton Hammond to continue visiting him and bringing him gifts. Burton said on a website that the reason that the marriage did not take place was merely logistical. Manson had an infection and had been in a prison medical facility for 2 months and could not receive visitors. She said that she hoped that the marriage license would be renewed and the marriage would actually take place. It's just, you know, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
So we're getting a little more modern, more and more. On April 11th, 2012, Manson was denied release for his 12th parole hearing, which he did not attend. After his March 27, 1997 parole hearing, Manson refused to attend any more of his later hearings. The panel that the hearing noted Manson had a history of controlling behavior and mental health issues, including schizophrenia and paranoid delusional disorder, and was too great of danger to be released. Yeah, obviously. The panel also noted that Manson had received 108 rule violation reports and had no indication of remorse, no insight into the fucking cause of his crimes, lack of understanding and the magnitude of his crimes, an exceptional callous disregard for human suffering, and had no parole plans. At the April 11, 2012 parole hearing, it was determined that Manson would not be reconsidered for parole for another 15 years, not before 2027, at which he would have been 92 years old. According to the recent reanalysis of Manson's psychological state, researchers suggest that he had been misdiagnosed with schizophrenia and instead had bipolar and psychopathy. So, you know, a lot going on.
Yeah.
Now, on January 1st, 2017, Manson was being held at the Corcoran Hooker in prison, where he had been rushed to Mercy Hospital in downtown Bakersfield because of a gastrointestinal bleeding. A source told the Los Angeles Times that Manson was very ill, and TMZ reported that his doctors considered him too weak for surgery that normally would have been performed in cases such as his. He was returned to prison on January 6th, and the nature of his treatment was not disclosed. On November 15th, 2017, an unauthorized source said that Manson had returned to the hospital in Bakersfield, but the California DOC and Rehabilitation did not confirm the conformity with the state and the federal medical privacy laws. Obviously, can't talk about it. And on November 19th, 2017, Charles Manson died from cardiac arrest resulting from a respiratory failure being brought on by colon cancer. He's dead.
I knew he was dead.
Yes, very much dead. And with his death, effectively, is the end, is the way that they're never going to get any answers about all those other crimes, all those other murders. Because I don't think anybody else is really willing to talk, if they are even still alive.
Yeah. Which is wild because, like, now he's not around to, like, really do anything. I know.
He wouldn't have done it anyway.
I mean, he might have told someone to do something.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But he's fucking dead. So
He's a dead son bitch.
he's a dead son bitch.
Sorry, son bitch.
Sorry, son bitch. Well, did you guys what'd you guys think about Charles Manson?
It's definitely very. He's a crazy fucker. Like, you know, I've known a lot about him from the past. Not as much into like further detail, but a lot about like the Manson family and the kind of fucked up shit they did. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely pretty fucked up, you know.
Yeah, dude. I mean, once you
horrific.
You said you're gonna listen to the episode before this.
Yeah.
Here, so you'll be able to hear all the fucked up details. But Morty, pass me that thing.
Oh yeah. Here. It's one for each of you.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
So it's kind of hard to see because of the light, but new MFA record.
Why don't you bring it?
It is going to. Oh, here, hand me that other one. I'll show. Even though the color's not all there, but it's hard to see on that one too. But there you go.
Yeah, dog. Post-apocalypse depression, dude. Look at that fucking
This
beast.
artwork is done by your lovely host, Fred.
Yeah, dude. I did the artwork on this motherfucker, dude.
You did.
It looks great.
And by the time you hear this episode, it is out. You can listen to this because it will be out tonight at midnight.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So that means by then, by the time this comes out, it's been out for a couple days, and you guys drop the ball. Go listen to it.
Yeah.
But it's super sick, dude. I'm actually super dope.
Also,
super
go check out our new music video too on YouTube. MFA Let's Ruin Our Lives.
Yeah,
Fun
dude.
video.
I fucking love this, dude. This is the shit, brother. But yeah, man. And if you guys were at the show that's tomorrow, March 29th, hey, it's good to see you again. But if you didn't come, you missed it. You missed the best show of the year.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Can't believe you missed it. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed that show, you guys are a bunch of sick fucks. But we love you anyway. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can. HGOPodcast. If you want to follow us on TikTok for now, until TikTok finally disappears, HGOPodcast. If you want to email us, send us some hate mail, you can. HGOPodcast@gmail.com. Whatever. Want to follow me on Instagram or Twitch, you can. Twitch.tv/IAtTheHaunted. Same handle, IAtTheHaunted on Instagram. Pass it off today.
Hello. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok for now, unless that disappears, at Lunar Thrill. You can also follow our dog at Spirit the Turv on Instagram. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Martine.
You can follow me on Instagram at GattoFeather. You can follow the MFA on Instagram at the Motherfuckers of the Apocalypse.
Motherfuckers of the Apocalypse.
Yeah, check out the album. I mean, it's on Spotify, iTunes, everything, all your streaming platforms. Go check out the new music video. We got the channel Hardcore Worldwide to put out our video for us. So it's on their channel. And yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
It's pretty cool.
It is super cool. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the 5,000 downloads. And like I said, we're going to be down for like probably, I don't know, a week or two. We'll see how things go. Get our new studio set up. But it's going to be super dope when it is done. And I'm very excited to share that all with you. Yeah. It's going to be so fucking cool when it's done. We got some shit we got to take care of and get it all situated and test it and all that fun stuff. And once it's done, dude, it's going to be baller. Very excited.
Ballin'.
But until then, my ghosts and ghouls and my lovely spooky people, remember to stay spooky.
Stay haunted.
And fuck Charles Manson.
And you can't because he's dead, but...
Oh, we said that last week, but you can absolutely fuck Dust.
Yeah. You said that last week? Nice. Well, we'll see it.